So Leviticus chapter 19 verse 26. You shall not eat anything with blood, neither shall you use enchantment or observe times. So I will focus on what when it says neither shall you use enchantments nor observe times. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to read this Leviticus 19 verse 26. I want to read this in other translations. And what I think I will do, I will just read it from the aspect in which I'm focusing on. So what I'm focusing on is the enchantment. We are not engage in those things. I want to focus on that. So New International Version says, do not practice divination or seek omens. Do not practice divination or seek omens. Do anyone know what is divination? Divination is when you are seeking into the unknown. You are seeking into the future. It's a system where you can be able to predict what is happening to this person or something. That is divination. And we're going to go into the history of when and where it was used. Yeah? New Living Translation. Do not practice fortune telling or witchcraft. So New Living Translation says do not practice fortune telling. So fortune telling is another word for divination. Divination, enchantment, fortune telling, they are all the same. All these things are considered witchcraft as well. They are considered witchcraft. English Standard Version. You shall not eat any flesh or blood. You shall not interpret omens or tell fortunes. This is English Standard Version. So let me go to the Good News Translation. Do not practice any kind of magic. So Good News Translation says do not practice any kind of magic. So that just it highlights that no kind of magic should be practiced. This is Good News Translation. So it generalize. So the older versions, it says in the Aramaic, English translation from the Aramaic, you shall not practice divination with birds, nor shall you consult an oracle. So this is translation from Aramaic. You shall not practice divination with birds. Nor shall you consult an oracle. So yes, definitely this is something that I am familiar with. I know someone who did this thing. Divination with birds. I know someone who did this thing. You shall not conjure by a winged animal. You shall not use divination. This is another translation. But it's saying, it's like saying the same, it's like, it's similar. Conjuring is something different. You conjure conjuring is more you are summoning something. You are summoning a spirit. So that's the difference there. That's the difference. So we go to Old Testament translation, JPS Tanakh. You shall not practice divination or soothsaying. Yes, so soothsaying is something after you practice divination, you are whatever you say out of your mouth is considered soothsaying. Soothsaying is when you are basically speaking. You are basically speaking and explaining that person things that will come to pass. That's what the soothsaying is. You have utilized the system of divination, and now you are speaking things concerning what you have seen. This is soothsaying. Brenton Septuagint translation. It says, nor shall you implore auguries nor divine by inspection of birds. So this Brenton Septuagint translation is similar to the Aramaic. It says that you shall not practice divination with birds. And this is what you have those that practice these things today. As I said before, I know one of them who did this particular thing, divination with birds, right? But divination is something, it doesn't only deal with birds. There's different forms of it. You can sacrifice other things. All depends on the level of what you want to get out of it. As I said, we are not to be dabbling in these things that I'm reading about here. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to go through the scriptures and see other places that talk about these things. Leviticus chapter 19. Leviticus chapter 19. Leviticus chapter 20. It says here, a man also or a woman that had a familiar spirit or that is a wizard shall be put to death. They shall be stoned and stoned, their blood shall be upon them. So the scripture here is saying that a man or a woman that has a familiar spirit or wizard shall be put to death. Mind you that this man or woman that had a familiar spirit or a wizard, this would be something. It wouldn't be the same as the enchanter or the person that used divination. This is different, right? This year a man who had a familiar spirit. This is going into someone who does who conjures up spirits of the dead, who conjures up or summons spirits of the dead, and that is a topic for another time, right? So we are going into, so let's go to Deuteronomy. I'm going to Deuteronomy chapter 18. Deuteronomy chapter 18. It says here, Deuteronomy 18 verse 10, there shall not be found among you anyone that maketh his son or his daughter to pass through the fire, or that use divination, or an observer of times, or an enchanter, or a witch, verse 11, or a charmer, or a consulter with familiar spirits, or a wizard, or a necromancer. So these systems we are not to be engaging in. And you notice it in here, it talks about divination, one observer of times, or enchanter. It mentions these things here. So when we read it, so this is telling us that nobody among us should be practicing these things. So we are not to be practicing these things. Us who are here, no one is to be practicing these things. This is what it is saying, right? So, as I'm reading that, I'm going to be reading Numbers chapter 23. So we can see exactly when and where divination was used. And before I read this, I want to give you a brief history, because where I'm at is inside the actual account of what actually took place. I would not read the entire account for the sake of time, but the history of the account is there was a king referred to as Balak of Moab. When you look on the map of the world, you see Jordan. That's where Moab is, the ancient land of Moab. So they were there and they were scared. Not they were scared. The king of Moab, Balak, was scared because he saw the children of Israel in great number, and they defeated the Amorites, a mighty nation. So King Balak decided to go to a well-known and high sorcerer that can curse these people. But before he went there, he carried a group of servants or messengers to go there. Now the messengers went, and they did not receive, as they went, the high sorcerer or the magician, which name is Balaam, that lived in Mesopotamia near the river Euphrates, told them to wait overnight and he will consult the spirit. He consulted the spirit, response of no. Because the spirit that Balaam consulted explained to Balaam that these people cannot be cursed because the Supreme Creator has favored them, or in other words, blessed them. And you cannot curse who the Supreme Creator has blessed or favored. And the messengers went back to the king of Balak. The messengers went back to King Balak of Moab. And King Balak of Moab didn't like the response. He didn't accept the response. So he sent higher officials. And what happened is that the spirit decided, go with the high officials to King Balak. Go with them. And so he went. So, as you can see, I'm going to read Numbers 23. And we're going to see the divination that Balaam used when he went to King Balak of Moab. He was actually upon a mountain or hill. Numbers chapter 23. Then Balaam said to King Balak, build me 7 altars here, and prepared 7 young bulls and 7 rams for me to sacrifice. Balak followed his instructions, and 2 of them sacrificed a young bullock and a ram on each altar. Verse 3. Then Balaam said to Balak, stand here by your burnt offerings, and I will go to see if the Supreme Creator will respond to me. Then I will tell you whatever he reveals to me. And I want to make mention that the Supreme Creator was not speaking to Balaam. Balaam was actually talking to a deity, a spirit, a lesser god. Because according to the law, no one is to be practicing enchantment nor divination. So how can the Supreme Creator deal with this magician or high sorcerer, and he's engaged in these activities? No. There would be no connectivity because he's unclean. He's unsanctified. So this is what we have to be familiar with. The way how the books has been translated, and because of misunderstanding where the law is concerned, a lot of people believe that Balaam was communicating with the Supreme Creator. As a matter of fact, the law, what I read earlier, was even before this account of history. So if we take the law seriously, then we can be familiar with what this is saying. And I believe personally that Balaam was talking to the chief of the devils. Because when the chief of the devils, and they fell, the chief of the devils still had access to the heavenly realm. Hence we see an example with Job, where he was talking with the Supreme Creator, and the Supreme Creator gave him a duty to do. He gave him permission. So in the same vein, in the same way, the chief of the devils has been used to be doing duties on this earth by magicians such as Balaam, by the permission of the Supreme Creator. So this is what has been happening. Magicians like Balaam has been consulting with the chief of the devils, and the chief of the devils has been getting the permission of the Supreme Creator, whether he should do it, whether he should not, what he should say, what he should not. Permission. So this is what I will say concerning this. Getting back to the point, I'm reading. Then Balaam said to Balak, stand here by your burnt offerings, and I will go to see if the Spirit will respond to me. Then I will tell you whatever he reveals to me. So Balaam went alone to the top of a bare hill or mountain, and the Spirit met him there. Balaam said to him, I have prepared 7 altars, and have sacrificed a young bull and a ram on each altar. The Spirit gave Balaam a message for King Balak. Then he said, go back to Balak and give him my message. So Balaam returned and found the king standing beside his burnt offering with all the officials of Moab. This was the message Balaam delivered. Balak summoned me to come from Aram. The king of Moab brought me from the eastern hills. Come, he said, curse Jacob for me. Come and announce Israel's doom. Let me read over again. Come, he said, curse Jacob, in Hebrew, Jacob, for me. Come and announce Israel doom. But how can I curse those whom the Supreme Creator has not cursed? How can I condemn those whom the Supreme Creator has not condemned? I see them from the cliff tops. I watch them from the mountains. I see people who live by themselves, set apart from other nations. Who can count Jacob's descendants as numerous as dust? Who can count even a fourth of Israel's people? Let me die like the righteous. Let my life end like theirs. So this is what the Spirit or the entity told Balaam to tell King Balak. So you see that divination was used. Balaam did ask for King Balak did offer King Balak did bring the 7 altars were built, and 7 bullocks, 7 rams were sacrificed for the divination to take place. And the Spirit came, and he consulted the Spirit, and the Spirit gave him these words to tell King Balak of Moab, because Israel was favored by the Supreme Creator, so they could not have been cursed. And so we see an example of divination being used. Leviticus chapter 19 verse 26. You shall not practice any enchantment, no divination. This is the law.